to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here. Now, some people have this hustle mentality, this idea that they've always got to be working, they've always got to be doing something, they've always got to be striving. And that can paradoxically lead to more procrastination and more feelings of fatigue or burnout because enough is never enough. And what this hypnosis session does is it addresses that and says, rather than trying to be productive, what if the goal is to build skills and prioritization, and by getting good at stuff, finding that the outcome is just a natural side effect of competency and effort. And that's the paradox sometimes, that sometimes people are trying to work, but to use a Gordon Ramsay phrase, they end up being busy idiots, and they are being productive, but being productive at the wrong things, whereas actually doing something to a high skill level could actually mean a lot more gets done. And it's about working hard and smart. And it's easier to work smart if you have skills than if you just have knowledge. And it does take some principles taken from time management techniques and various things, so you get clarity on what you're doing to free up cognitive bandwidth to do the kind of things that actually make a difference. And I realize I say this knowing that I work a lot. I post a hypnosis podcast daily. I'm seeing clients all the time. I also have other business interests out there. But when you do it from a place of you love playing the game, you get enjoyment doing the thing, and the productivity is an outcome, it's a side effect of what you do, that's very different than if you're just trying to do stuff. So I'd encourage you to kind of bear that in mind as you listen to this hypnosis session, and just think, what skills would you like to be better at? Now, this session was created for an individual. Some of the suggestions would be ideal for them, not quite right for you. So if you like the idea of a bespoke session, check out the description and you'll see that there is some resources there, like a suitability test, a free webinar, lots of free downloads. All of those things are in the description. For now, though, I'd encourage you to check out this episode first. So find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that slow, calm, relaxing breath. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. Position your body in such a way where it becomes natural, easy, perhaps even effortless to just relax. That's it. Breathing in relaxation and exhaling tension. Each breath enables you to drift deeper and deeper relaxed. As you give yourself permission to go to a place and a space that you've been many times before. A safe place where change happens without force. The change happens simply because it helps make a transition from where you are to closer to where you want to be. deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you feel. And the more relaxed you feel, the deeper you breathe. And now take one deliberate breath. Not a special breath, just a considered one. The kind of breath that signals to the nervous system that we are shifting modes now, that we are creating the conditions for something different. And notice how that one deep, long breath changes the quality of the space inside. A fraction more room, a fraction more stillness. What if this, a simple breath, is the first skill of the skill builder? That ability to deliberately create the internal conditions for neuroplasticity, for learning for depth, for the kind of intentional thinking that produces real capability. Create an image in your mind of what you consider a master craftsperson. And they don't begin their work on a delicate piece in a state of agitation. They prepare the workspace. They arrange the tools. They bring themselves to a state of settled attention before they even touch the material. Because they know that the quality of the work depends first on the quality of the inner state of the one doing it. As you breathe in and breathe out, feel a release. And allow your body to do what it knows how to do when given permission. The shoulders dropping, the jaw releasing, the breath finding its own rhythm. The body arranging itself for deep, unhurried, productive attention. And notice something important happening as you do this. The internal noise begins to settle. And not because the external world has quietened, but because you have created a space inside that is larger than the noise. An internal workspace clear and ordered, ready for the real work. And what if your mind is at its most capable, not when it's at its busiest, but when it has that cognitive bandwidth, that breathing space, when it has room, when the clutter has been cleared, when the essential things are held in a trusted system somewhere outside the head, meaning the head itself is free to do what only it can do. To think deeply, to build competency and skills, and to observe with genuine curiosity. And perhaps you've already imagined a workshop where that person of skill and ability was preparing. But let's refine it. Let's imagine a workshop, a real one. The kind that belongs to someone that's been building their craft for many years. It might be something practical. Someone like a carpenter or a potter, perhaps a watchmaker or something else. Notice the quality of the space. It is ordered and not sterile, and there is evidence of real work everywhere. But everything has its place. Every tool is where it can be found without searching. Every project in progress is clearly labeled and tracked. Nothing is forgotten. Nothing is falling through cracks. Nothing is consuming background attention just by existing. No open loops here. And the person who works in this space can give their complete attention to the project or work in front of them, because the system holds everything else. The system remembers, and the system tracks, so that the mind doesn't have to. And whether that's understanding a way to juggle multiple projects and tasks, or just know what's what and what needs to be done, the mind is a brilliant instrument for thinking and a terrible instrument for storage. And when we ask it to hold everything simultaneously, to remember the tasks and the deadlines and the commitments and the ideas and the concerns, it devotes enormous energy to that holding function. And while it's using its energy for that, then the energy can't be used for the thing it does best. But when everything lives in a trusted system outside the mind, and when nothing can fall through the cracks because the cracks have been sealed, the mind is released, liberated, and it becomes available for its highest function, building real, deep, lasting skills. I want you to float into this workshop and feel like it's your workshop. And as I count down from 10 to 1, you will imagine drifting deeper into this space, a haven in your own mind in which, instead of building watches or furniture, you are building skills. 10, 9, going deeper into this workshop. 8, 7, feeling the quality of a mind that has room to work. 6, 5, 4. Feel the particular stillness of someone who is completely present, because nothing outside this moment is demanding their attention. 3, 2, and 1. Here you are in the workshop. Tools in order, projects tracked, mind free. And here, in this workshop within your mind, we can begin the real work. There is a particular kind of person in the world. You've met them, perhaps in different forms. The person who is genuinely absorbed in becoming better at something, not for external validation, not to perform competence, but because the development of real capability is, to them, intrinsically worthwhile. They don't care about accomplishments and success. The journey is the point. The destination is simply a byproduct of doing something valuable, important, and getting better at that thing. The skill builder is not interested in appearing productive. They are interested in actually getting better. And these are not the same thing. In fact, they are sometimes opposites. Because appearing productive sometimes requires performing activity, presenteeism, taking credit for other people's work. Whereas building skill sometimes requires stopping and thinking, experimenting and failing usefully before trying again with the new information and the feedback. The skill builder values something most of the world undervalues: thinking time, reflecting. Not the restless, anxious turning of problems in the mind, but the genuine, unhurried, generative consideration of things. The kind of thinking that produces insight rather than just options. And that produces understanding rather than just information. And calmness not as a luxury, not as a nice to have when the work is done, but as a prerequisite, as a foundation, as an essential condition in which real skill development becomes possible. The skill builder treats their own calmness the way a musician treats the tuning of their instrument. You can't make good music on an instrument that isn't ready. And you can't build deep skill in a nervous system that is running on high alert. So embrace the skill builder and feel that your primary orientation is toward genuine mastery, not the performance of productivity. And calmness and thinking time are not rewards. They are the ingredients, the conditions that you work from. And don't be surprised if this identity reorders what matters. Things you used to value become less important, and other things that weren't so important before become more important. That's just a natural reaction to embracing the identity. So the question stops being, am I getting enough done? And instead becomes, am I getting genuinely better? The question stops being, am I appearing capable? And becomes, am I building real capability? And the question stops being, what will others think if I ask for help? And becomes, what's the fastest path to genuine competency here? And is that path one I need help with? Because the skill builder understands something about strength that most people misunderstand. Strength is not the absence of needing help. Strength is the willingness to seek the most efficient route to real capability. And sometimes that route runs directly through asking the right person the right question. Think of a samurai. The child that wants to be the samurai does not learn it by themselves. They find the master, the samurai that is already capable. The aspiring samurai knows that asking for help is a skill. It's how the skill builder learns fastest. Needing input, refinement, guidance is not weakness. It's intelligent resource allocation. Consider for a moment the difference between two versions of the same person on exactly the same morning. The first version, that first person carries everything in their head. The tasks that need doing, the things that might be forgotten, the half-formed ideas that need following up, the commitments made and not yet tracked, the concerns that surface and resurface because no decision has been made, there's no formal home for them. Now this person is technically available to build skill, but their cognitive bandwidth is already maximized and occupied. Every thread of attention being devoted to holding the structure together in case they forget. But imagine the second version of the same person, and they have a trusted external system. Every thought, every idea, every project, every task captured, every commitment tracked. Even ideas that maybe someday will turn into fruition are still put somewhere. Every project is broken into what can be done now and what needs to be done later. So their mind never has to carry the weight of figuring out what to do next. This person sits down to a piece of work and their mind is clear, available, free to go deep. What if this isn't just a preference but a neurological reality? Some people believe that the mind cannot distinguish between tasks it needs to remember and tasks it has formally captured. Both consume the same monitoring resource, and the only way to release that resource is to give the mind genuine evidence that nothing will be lost if it lets go. That evidence is the system. The system is an act of trust. And what if you have a system so you can trust this structure to hold everything, so your mind doesn't have to? Don't be surprised if your unconscious starts to feel freedom and safety and possibility. In that liberated state, with that additional cognitive and intellectual bandwidth, there is more thinking capacity available. And whether it's related to mathematics or machine learning, new knowledge, new skills, you freed up the resources to do more with less, so that skill building becomes amplified, enhanced, genuinely not just possible but inevitable, because the conditions for it have been deliberately created. Your mind is for building skill, not for storage. And every now and then, even with building skills, you will run into disagreeable people. And I want you to get a sense that when that happens, you have choices. I want you to unleash another part within. There's a part that can learn skills, and another curious, observing part. Let's call it the observationalist. And that part has made an internal decision. A decision so deep, it doesn't require conscious choosing in the moment. Perhaps a decision that says, I'm not here to defend myself. I'm here to observe, to understand, and to choose deliberately what I engage with. I want you to think of a naturalist, Victorian scientist. A scientist studying human or perhaps animal behavior in the field, who watches a difficult interaction the way a documentary filmmaker might watch a rare and interesting animal, not with judgment, but with genuine curiosity, with professional detachment, with the sense of privilege that comes from having an extraordinary front row seat to something genuinely interesting. And when someone is patronizing, the naturalist doesn't take it personally. They mentally note it. Interesting. What's the function of that behavior? What's the underlying intention? What is this person trying to achieve? What does their tonality tell me about their internal state right now? Is this projection, displacement? Are they going through a tough time? What are they afraid of that would make this their strategy? And when someone is disagreeable, the naturalist asks questions, real questions, curious questions, not rhetorical weapons, but genuine inquiry that communicates, I'm interested in what's underneath this. I'm not rushing to respond. I choose what I engage with and what I let pass. Your curiosity is stronger than their provocation. They want a reaction, which is why it frustrates them when instead you choose to respond. Ask questions first, always. Real questions that come from genuine curiosity. Questions buy time and gather information and subtly shift power towards the one who is asking, rather than the one who is defending. You don't need to defend. Defending has a presupposition which confirms the attack. When you explain yourself without being asked, you are agreeing that an explanation was required. What if you reject the premise? The observationalist does not agree to that framing. As the balls come over the net, you choose which balls to hit back. Not every throw requires a catch. Not every ball needs to be returned. Some things can simply land and be noted and be left there without response, without engagement, without the cost of your attention. The urgency to respond is a feeling, not a fact. You can observe the feeling with interest and choose not to act on it. And what if this is just one of those powerful skills that you are building, where you can be comfortable in your own vulnerability, to choose when to build skills, when to detach and observe, to notice what you notice, reflect, learn, refine, with a wonderful state of curiosity and wonder, prioritizing growth, competency, and rejecting that you even need approval, validation, rejecting the idea that someone can criticize or judge. Just opinions, just words. And I want you to get a sense that you're about to leave this workshop in your mind with new beliefs, new identities, new skills and new ideas that give you more choices, more options. It's time to float up out of the workshop within your mind, knowing you can return whenever you choose. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. And wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now as I count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.